Well, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be watching this. My name is Dave, and I am from a place or a channel called Learning Firearms. And this is what I like to say a new old podcast. And what I mean by that is I used to do this podcast on a channel I used to work for. That was the old account for the old channel now is what I call it. And we did a monthly thing called the QA. It started out with just a video that I would pre-record where I would take questions, comments, all that other stuff. But then it kind of transitioned over the time to a live show. And it actually did pretty well on the old channel. We would get a decent amount of views live streaming. And then we would also upload it to podcast apps and stuff. And sometimes it would get a couple thousand views depending on the platform and all that, which for a small channel was pretty decent. Well, I know that there's probably not very many people watching. Hey, we got a couple of regulars checking in. That's great. We got a couple people checking in. Great. I'll catch up with comments here in a sec. But anyways, the QA is something that I really did enjoy doing. Like there was even months when I was working for the old channel where I didn't have the time, the bandwidth, the energy, the spirit to make regular content. And I really always still tried to prioritize doing QAs every month, as that was kind of like something at the end of the month I always looked forward to, was interacting with you guys. So if you guys are new, if you're stumbling across this is not something that's brand new. This is a format that we've done. If you guys are old coming back, I really appreciate it. I'm glad you found me at my new home here at Learning Firearms. So real quick, shameless plug. Let's see if I can actually get the resources to show up. Of course not. I'm trying to update web titles and all this other stuff. And you guys know how it goes. Nothing ever goes perfect in the live streaming world, but I try to do the best I can and definitely try to polish things the best I can. But the biggest thing is I am mainly about sharing content, sharing knowledge. So that being said, let's give you a shameless plug here, what I've been up to lately and answering some questions and going through all that kind of stuff. Let's see if it'll let me go back. I'm trying to manage everything. There we go. So, boom, you can learn more about training and all that kind of stuff. We'll put that right there. Learningfirearms.com is my website. That's where I do training stuff. That's kind of the main thing I'm doing now. I will post links to like our latest video and that kind of stuff. But this is where I'm at. And for those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Dave, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in. So, a little bit about me, so if you might be new. I basically work in the industry full time. My main gig right now is traveling around the country doing classes. And right now the jam is instructor development, handgun classes, a lot of law enforcement and government contracts, just because that's where the demand is and that's where my network was. However, that being said, I love doing open enrollment classes. So if you are interested in bringing me out to your range, your club, your agency, or whatever, I travel all around the country teaching, and that's what I love to do, and I can help hook up logistics and all that. We do handgun, rifle, all sorts of stuff, but that's what I do, and I love making content. I love firearms, I love nerding out, and I love sharing knowledge, answering questions. So that's what this podcast is all about, where we answer questions. If you want to see your question on the show and you can't make it live, the best way to get your question on the show is to email us. And that email is that's the old one. It's just QA@learningfirearms.com. You can email your question. That goes to the inbox. And then at the end of the month when we do these podcasts, and we might start doing them more regularly as well, if I can get kind of a workflow. Once we get the podcast going, I will answer as many questions as I can, going from there. So all that good stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Do have to give a huge shout out, obviously, to our Patreon supporters. Kevin is our #1 supporter if you want to support the channel. And what we're doing, the best way to do so is on Patreon. They try to get early access on stuff. Yeah, try to give them early access and basically anything that I can ahead of time. Sometimes YouTube links and ad approval doesn't work, but I'm trying to give our Patreons a heads up as well as some behind the scenes. And actually, I will be doing our first end of the year giveaway. So I'm going to open it up to all the Patreons. If you guys wanted to go there now, the people that have been there throughout the whole year get first dibs or first pick in the lottery, if you will. And then we will kind of go from there. And then last, but certainly not least, do have to give a shout out to my sponsor, and that main sponsor right now is Slip 2000 for all of our viewers and listeners. If you use code LF20 when you go to Slip 2000, you will receive 20% off your order. It does help support the channel. Slip 2000 is the best lubrication and cleaning products that I have used. Love their stuff. I've been using it for a long time, even before I was sponsored and had any sort of relationship. Slip 2000, legit stuff. Use code LF20 to save 20% on your order. That being said, let's get right back to it. We already got some comments coming in. I'm super happy to be here. The burner account says, yo, thanks for tuning in, man. What's up? Just chilling like a villain. Just fly low. Hello, how are you? Good to hear from you. Speaking of Fusion stuff, I believe my Fusion is out for delivery today. So I might have to pause the live cast to sign for that, depending on how that goes. So that's pretty cool. And then Art is happy to be able to join one. Art, I'm super happy to have you be here as well. Art has been a longtime viewer, listener. You have been commenting, interacting. Man, I feel like years. I can't remember if you're an original OG learning firearms and then followed me to G&T and then back, or if you found me on G&T. But man, I know I've been reading and seeing Art's name forever. So that's awesome to see. Dan says, hello, good to see you. And yes, live stream struggles and gremlins is the norm. Yeah, that's how it goes, right? That's how it goes. CNC Tech, if you want to take firearms classes, go to the Sonoran Desert Institute. Yeah, I don't know about that one, man. I've got my reservations on the Sonoran Desert Institute. There's been some controversy in the industry over that, as well as the GI Bill stuff. So that might be maybe another topic. Maybe we'd kind of do a deep dive and we talk to some graduates, or we talk to some industry people who yeah, we'll see. I'm not so sure about that one. There's been some controversy. I know that well, I'll just leave it at that. Mr. Madness, thanks for checking in, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. We'll have to definitely head to the range sometime. And then Art picked up his Fusion XP Pro, and the first 100 has been many malfunctions. Oh, yeah. So when you say fail to fire or fail to feed, I'm assuming it's a fail to feed, but we did have some issues with the one that I can't remember his username. I don't know if you want me to say your real name or not, but we did have some issues as shown in the video. I had a great phone call with the folks at Fusion. I got to say, like, ahead of time, they had no idea who I was. I'm a small channel now, right? I can't call companies anymore and get them to answer the phone because I'm back on learning firearms. That's the one thing I do miss about the old channel, is that I did have a lot more connections. But anyways, we connected. We had an awesome call. I spoke to the founder as well as one of their key employees. And again, I don't know if they want me to put their names out, but it was a great phone call. We talked about the observations I had. They appreciated the detail in video. We talked about like my ideas for video, and the phone call went really, really good. I was super impressed with their dedication to customer service, their dedication to wanting to make things right for their customers, and really just wanting to have good content, neutral content out there. So they said, hey, we want to send you a gun. We want you to have more range time with it. We want you to have some evaluation, and you don't have to be nice to it. You can be honest. We're never going to tell you what to say, but just take the demo gun and go from there, which is really cool because obviously I don't have the budget to buy as much stuff as I used to. So having demos and stuff like that is really helpful. So that should be here soon, and hopefully I'll be getting to the range with that here pretty soon. So I'm pretty excited with them, and I appreciate their customer service. They appear to want to get things right with not only their extractor, their ejector stuff. When we were looking at the sample gun that we had from Just Fly Low, I think it was a combination. I think it was a lot of ejector geometry. He also mentioned that there may have been some extractor issue based on a screw, and there was kind of a loose extractor from what he was showing me. So definitely could be part of it as well. So yeah, I think they're making progress. So, and I will say this, like I've talked to other companies, new companies, and they'll admit like it's hard to launch a new gun. Like, and this is a new gun, right? And they are contracting manufacturing overseas in Turkey. So they are doing the specs, the quality control, quality assurance and all that. But even when you have it in-house, like I talked to another founder of a gun company, and he was even, like, he's like, yeah, it's hard to get everything 100% right off the bat. Like you might come in with some teething issues when you're coming out with something new. So, but it's all about how you support people and how your customer service is. So kudos to Fusion is what I'm trying to say. So Art, thanks for the comment on that. Yeah, I don't know what, I apologize if you didn't get a notification. I put it on YouTube. I don't know what, Facebook won't let me. There's some integration plugin, so I can't live stream to Facebook. So you can get this wherever you get your podcasts, probably tomorrow-ish. I'll put it on the audio podcast version as well as YouTube. YouTube wants to be a podcast host, so that's where it is. Razor JB, thumbs up to you as well. The King Dingaling, awesome, thank you. And fix that little problem. That's right. Hopefully you're talking about the Fusion. Failed to feed. Yep, and they posted a follow-up video as well. So King Dingaling asks, what's your opinion on investing in a laser bore sight set to assist in zeroing red dots for your pistols and AR? Yes, personally, I'm just at the point where I don't use them anymore. I just uploaded a new version of my how to zero a handgun video. If I'm doing a lot, I'll use the tripod or a bag or a rest. I did add that. Otherwise, I'll just shoot offhand. I just actually got back from a contract class. I was gone all week teaching this class, and it was a handgun red dot development instructor class type thing. And we talked about zeroing. We talked about that. But if you're able to zero offhand and you can shoot well enough, great. But I also do respect and appreciate the argument that if I can get it as precise as possible and zero the equipment, not the operator, that is obviously even better yet, right? I think we would all agree with that. So no issues whatsoever with that. You tripod, whatever. The laser bore sighters, here's the deal with them. I always lose them. I always forget them in a range bag, forget them at home, forget to change the batteries because they're little coin cells. They'll get you close, but with the handgun, it's not, I don't think it's a big time save. And then with the rifles, that more, it might be a little bit more of a time save. However, if the old school way that I would do it is I would just take the upper, assuming we're talking about an AR or a bolt, take a bolt out or whatever, and basically put it on a bag or a rest and pretty much just align it with the target and then rough it in. And then I've never had a time where I wasn't on paper. Or what I would always do with ARs is I would shoot them at 25 yards. I have never had a gun that's not on paper at 25 yards. At 25 yards, I shoot, I make a gross adjustment, knowing what the offset should be, and then I would move that target to my preferred distance, whether it's 50 or 100, depending on the platform or optic. So, yeah, no issues whatsoever there. So, what's coming up on the channel, and then we'll check in with Kevin's Corner with all of his QA entries. Kevin, I will just be up front, man. You've sent a lot, like sometimes 3, 4, 5 a day. Yesterday, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions. So I'm not going to be able to get to them all. And I know they've been stacking up for a few months because we haven't been doing QAs. We're kind of just back at the end of the year. But I'll try to get to a few. If there's something priority, always please make sure to indicate that. And likewise, I also want to talk about Black Friday. Like, what did you guys buy for Black Friday, whether it's industry related or not, or what kind of deals were out there, and kind of the industry. And with SHOT Show coming up, obviously our next episode will probably be post SHOT Show. I think the end of the month will be right after SHOT, and that will be a good episode. I've already gotten some indicators of what's coming from SHOT. I'm under NDAs for a couple of things, which is always exciting. But yeah, next end of the month is going to be the 31st. Yes, the 31st, which is end of the month, and that would be after SHOT. So super excited to talk about that. What are your predictions? We'll kind of talk about some things. I can tell you, some of the guns are starting to come out now. They try to do that to get out in front of the SHOT Show buzz, plus with holiday shopping and everything like that. Case in point, Ruger and the Magpul collaboration with their, somebody called it the, what was it? The Gluger, the Glock and Ruger clone, the Gluger. I thought that was pretty funny, but basically it's a Gen 3 19 clone. And yeah, it's, yeah, it looks like a solid pistol for the money. I mean, I actually kind of want to pick one up just to see. Here's the deal. Both companies are well established in the industry. Ruger always has been known for making the products quality that they have, like 1022s and revolvers and stuff. And then when they've expanded into the other markets, 1911s, some semi-auto pistols and stuff. Some of the semi-auto pistols actually are, some of them are a little meh, but they've tried to really improve that. And generally speaking, they know how to make a good item. Obviously, Magpul is a proven partner. So being that they're able to do that, it definitely is a good, solid option. And Anyways, what was I going to say? Anyways, so we're starting to see some new stuff trickle out. We are going to see some new optics. We are going to see some new stuff. For example, Checkmate, they just announced the 2011 magazine that is a higher capacity that they teased at NRA, but they finally announced it. That's going to be a SHOT Show thing. Some of your favorite optic companies are coming out with new stuff at SHOT Show. Some of your favorite accessory companies are coming out with new stuff. But don't necessarily expect SHOT Show to be like huge, big bomb drop. I don't think it's going to be that big of a year. Could be wrong. Could be some other stuff that's still in the works that I haven't gotten press releases on yet or whatever. But I think really come after the first of the year, that's when companies start to release stuff. That's when they really want to start to get ahead of that SHOT Show buzz. So like 2 weeks out, 1 week out, the released at SHOT Show thing is kind of a thing from the past. Everybody wants to get in front of the sea of SHOT Show, but I'm looking for it. I can't wait to go back. I love it. I get to see all my friends, and there might be some exciting news. I'll tell you guys here. Let the cat out of the bag a little bit. The old channel, obviously I'm no longer with G&T. They might be having some changes, and they might be having some changes. So there's some new people kind of running the show, and we've been in talks, and I'm not saying I'm leaving here now. I'm here. Like, this is what I'm putting all my weight in and all my fruit in this basket, all my eggs in this basket. That's the saying. So, but we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see if there's a potential of, continuing to see that grow. And obviously I still have some attachment, right? I grew that audience and it does mean a lot to me. So we'll see what happens, but we'll go from there. All right. So let's just see. I'm looking forward to your follow-up video. Yeah. On distances. Yes. I've heard what I've heard, I'm curious what it looks like 10 at 25. Here's the spoiler, 10, 15, 25. In reality, people are just overthinking it. We're talking less than an inch different out to 0 to 25 yards. And then maybe a couple inches from 0 to 50, from that 25 to 50. So I do think people really, really overthink it. Now, it just gets to that point where people just really overthink it. I still prefer the 10. I like to confirm at 25 and get that windage exactly perfect if I can. But as far as our elevation and drop and everything between a 10, a 15, and a 25, I think we as a whole are overthinking it and put way too much thought into it, and do what you do. And then just know where your holds are. Usually it's whatever Kool-Aid you're drinking. Like if you go to a class and the instructor is like 10 yard, 10 yard, 10 yard, you're going to dial to 10. If you go to a class and that instructor is like 15, everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, I love it. And then same thing at 25 or whatever. Here was what I'm telling you. I've taken a class before where the instructor was big on a 25 yard 0. But we were all shooting offhand together. Most people in the class weren't able to hold a 6-inch group at 25 yards. So now it's like we're trying to zero off of a 6-inch group. It's like you're trying to do the best you can. I was holding 10-ish ring, a little bit of 9s on the B8 at 25 when we were doing that particular drill with my 10-yard 0. So I just left it at my 10-yard 0 and smiled. Yeah, that's cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate your input. But anyways, that's just my spiel. So good changes with that. I get it. All right, Black Friday. Let's see what you got. And then you have to roll good information. Yeah, Mr. Madness. All right. Nothing but soft goods from HRT and Defense Mechanisms. Hopefully, if you bought at Defense Mechanisms, you used my code LF10. I'm not sure if you did or not. I just recently got my affiliate and links and stuff set back up with those dudes. But dude, Defense Mechanism stuff, such good quality gear. Hopefully they'll maybe sponsor a podcast or a show or something coming up. But even if they don't, I use their gear. I love their stuff. I have the Helion coats, plate carriers. Actually, I just wore my MEP-C all week. The contract class that I was at had a body armor mandate, so I wore my MEP-C. Awesome platform. Love their stuff. Like literally good dudes making even better gear. If you guys aren't familiar with Defense Mechanisms, I would highly encourage you to check them out. So that good Black Friday deals. My Black Friday deal was actually the Viper chair here. I don't know if you guys can see that. They announced that their Venom Green, which you guys know that I love neon green, obviously. They announced the Venom Green drop and with the Black Friday sale. And I finally was just like, all right, I've been looking at new shop chairs forever, and I finally pulled the trigger. And I'll be up front, dudes. I'm going to put a review on it. I don't know if it'll be on this channel or the off-road gear and tread channel, because I think it might do a little bit better there. But I will say I don't know if it's worth it. Like, for what they charge for a chair, this thing better feel like I'm sitting in a Cadillac, and I don't know if it does that yet or not. Additionally, there's some little quirks about the backrest. I don't know, but here's the deal. Why don't you see bad reviews on them? Nobody wants to say, I spent $800 on a chair and I regret it. That they have buyer's bias. Like, everybody wants to say, oh, it's the best, bro. Oh, you can't afford it. Oh yeah, you wouldn't understand. No, dude. It's a lot of freaking money for a chair with synthetic material. Like, give me a leather chair at least. That way it won't melt and hopefully get scuffed up as much. But I don't know. It's really well built. It's beefy. Powder coat looks good. The components all look good. It's made in America, assembled over in Wisconsin right next door. So a lot of good things to say about it, but I don't know if it's worth the money yet, dudes. So that's the deal. Viper Chair, if you're watching this and you were considering sponsoring, yeah, right, okay. But I'm going to be honest, man. I think this is a tough sell. I get that people buy them and have money, but man, is it really better than my $80 Amazon chair? And that's what we're going to compare it to, 80 versus $800. Like, I can buy 10 of those. A 10. All right. What movie is that from? If anybody still wants to comment. All right. Let's check in for a few questions from Kevin. Kevin, again, some of the stuff I don't get, man. I don't see the experiences that you have with all these dumb government instructors. I have no idea what it's like in Illinois, but man, I don't see it. So I can't speak to some of that stuff, because when I travel around, man, I see a lot of people who are really trying to do good and trying to make their agencies better and have good attitudes. So again, and you talk about, like, instructors shooting students in the legs and all this. I just don't see that. Send me some clips, send me some news headlines or whatever, because I just don't see it. So I'm not sure. Yes, and Dustin gets it, the Varsity Blues. That's absolutely right. All right. But anyways, so some of that stuff, Kevin, I don't get. I don't see it. Just don't do it. All right. How do you design practice drills to get the form right? And then how do you run live fire in unconventional positions so citizens and police officers don't shoot themselves? What equipment? So any oopsies are detected when someone yanks the trigger, practicing. Yeah. Okay. So with that, how I develop drills is, number one, I talk to my peers. I figure out what they're doing that they've had success with. And then likewise, if I'm looking at whatever it might be, a fundamental skill, a foundational skill, or maybe a skill that was important in this particular incident, I just simply try to break it down and I look at what the micro skills were. So for example, there was movement. So they had to move from A to B. And while they did so, they fumbled the draw. So maybe we can work on drawing on the move. And then the other skill was, a micro skill, was drawing and having really proficient presentation from the holster to that first round. That was really important to be able to react quickly and get the first rounds on target quick. So then we work on some of that. And then maybe we work on transitioning from position B to position C while either engaging or loading on the way or whatever. And we practice those little segments. And then we would run the stage or the drill where it's the whole thing. And I get this from a lot of competition shooters who train. This was confirmed to me. I just took a Ben Steger class, I don't know, a month or two ago. And one of the things I really liked on the format of his class, and it kind of confirmed what I was doing, is that you would practice a little segment, a little segment, a little segment, and then boom, all those segments would come together for a USPSA style stage that would basically incorporate all of those little things that you would then put it all together. And that's even goes back to the old Pat Rogers days. Pat Rogers' philosophy was skill, 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 skill set. And a lot of instructors kind of follow that, and that's just kind of a basic adult learning. So that's what I do. For me, the adult learning side is if people aren't interested, if they don't see the relevancy, if they don't see the value of it, they're probably not going to be as engaged. So I have to establish rapport. I have to establish relevancy so they're interested, and then I have to keep it engaging so they pay attention and actually stick with it. Also, like, I've talked about this on the old channel, but like Daniel Coyle, author of Little Book of Talent and the Talent Code, I read his stuff a lot. It's just kind of refreshers. But his thing is that you need to be in doing deliberate practice, you need to be ignited, and ideally have master coaching. And that's how we're going to develop learning and really trying to improve things, right? So those are kind of some of the things I do when I look at my classes and try to make things happen. So Croak, welcome back. I appreciate you tuning in. Glad you followed me over. We're also asking dudes, how did Black Friday go for you? What did you buy? What did you not buy? What were you tempted to? What do you want to see? And we'll kind of just talk about some of that stuff too. Any thoughts on changes that will happen to the 2A realm with Trump coming back in office? You know, one of the things that I do not like to do on this channel is I didn't do it on the old one. I don't want to do it on this one, is get political. However, I will say this. I'm hoping that there will be less regulation by the federal government in various industries, ATF included. Obviously, under the Biden administration, and this is not political, this is fact, the audit process, the revocation process, the infractions and things like that the ATF was issuing to FFLs shifted substantially with this current administration versus previous administrations, Obama included. I've worked for a lot of people that, you know, had FFLs or whatever. I'm trying to think when I got my FFL, if it was Obama or if it was Trump. I can't remember. I'd have to do the math, but it's changed a lot. So I will just say with some of that, I think will be good. But here's the other thing. Trump, and I know there's a lot of supporters of whoever candidate, but if we look at like actual data, Trump has also said some things and done some things that haven't been very pro 2A. Bump stocks, you know, basically okay with emergency orders, you know, like, yeah, due process second, take the guns for whatever I can't remember. So I think we all need to be cautious with any politician, dudes. Any politician, we need to be standard. Sorry, I'm reading ahead. With any politician, we need to be suspicious and we need to be trust but verify, right? You know, and I'm hoping for the best for our country. And I'm not trying to get all philosophical, definitely trying not to get all political, but I will say this. It does sadden me to see how divided our communities, families, our industry, people have become over issues that have come up recently, current events, recent events, politics. I'm here to tell you, man, life is so short and fragile. We recently had a death in our family, and it kind of just makes you think about stuff, but life is fragile. Cherish relationships. It's okay to agree to disagree. It's okay to have other things in common. And it just really isn't worth it. Like in the grand scheme of things, it isn't worth it to argue over some of the stuff that really doesn't affect us on a day-to-day basis. You know, like people get so worked up over X, Y, or Z. And I would ask them, like, has that really affected your day-to-day life? Can you give me a circumstance? And I'd love to learn. Like, I'm sincerely, genuinely interested in something that they have done in office that literally affected your day-to-day life. And sometimes we can all talk about like money and inflation and all that. I get all that. But sometimes we talk about some of this other stuff and it's like, man, I think we get so worked up over this that we get too emotionally attached and we get divisive. So I'll leave it at that. All right. Boom. Done. Paul, do you have an easy to find resource for finding torque values if they're not listed? Yes, there is. If you just Google torque screw chart, and if you know about what size screws came with that particular thing, there is going to be a chart. Number 6 screw going into this material should have this. A good screw torque chart will have wet and dry. However, 243 does not change torque value that much in my Loctite course that I took. And then also in testing, that 243 does a pretty good job of maintaining that. Some of the thinner thread lockers will act as a lubricant, so therefore you'd have to lessen the torque a little bit, or torque applied, I should say. But 243 does a pretty good job if it's appropriate to use on a fastener of that size, depending on what size it is. But yeah, screw torque chart. And then otherwise, the old hack of whether it's a hex key or a T handle, if the tool starts to flex. So if I'm using a T handle and I'm tightening and then all of a sudden I get flex, that is about the maximum torque that this tool should be applying to that size fastener. That's why bigger fasteners have bigger, socket sizes for the tool. Therefore, the material is thicker. Likewise, if I was just using a little L key, if I'm starting to tighten and then that starts to flex, that is the maximum amount of torque that should be applied for that size fastener with that tool. So that's why they're longer as they get bigger, so they have more leverage and stuff. But that's always a good tool to use as well if you don't have a torque wrench and or the torque value. So I always am a big one of that because, yeah, once you break screws and everything, that is tight. The German standard Gutentight, yes, I get that, but I've done a lot of gunsmithing work on German standard certified technician dudes. And then I will tell you this, if you break off the bit in that screw, it's a more expensive job. I just did one not too long ago. I'm not doing a lot of gunsmithing stuff anymore. I just don't have the time right now, but I did help out a local customer. He had a safety selector, stripped out the screw, used a different bit, broke that bit off in the screw. So now it became a bench job to a machine job. And once it becomes a machine job, it's definitely a little bit more expensive because anytime we power up a machine, the risk goes up, and toolings and all that kind of tool costs and all that kind of stuff. So yes, same, man. They're all out for each other. Okay. That's it. It's the same bird. What would you recommend for the first AR or PCC? Part of it depends on your budget. And believe it or not, I've had some dudes with a pretty healthy budget right off the bat, and they're like, I want something that's good. I generally am a buy once, cry once type of a guy, and done. That's what I want to do. So fair enough. We can do that. If you have a budget, there's other really good options. It just kind of depends on what your budget is. So let me know what kind of budget and use, and then maybe we can make some other recommendations. Other questions. Let me loop back into the emails and make sure that we are checking in. Kevin, have you ever had a receiver nut come loose ever when there is a known virgin history of a mil-spec receiver extension and a proper R cross F use of the torque adapter to properly tighten? He's talking about torque angle and stuff. Yes, I have seen factory guns, castle nuts come loose. From good guns, like we've had Colts do it. I had one LMT I saw in a class. And then we've also had some entry-level guns like DPMS, Smith & Wesson, those type of guns. Those would come loose, and those were not staked castle nuts. But the other ones, I'm very confident were virgin. Whether they were torquing or not correctly, I don't know, but the factory should be doing quality control. So all I can say is, yes, we've seen them come loose. So when you said, have you ever seen this ever? Yes, I have. However, I don't know for sure. I mean, could they have reused a tool or a part or whatever? I don't know, but I see it. So that's why I keep a receiver extension tool in my range box, and then we will basically use what I call the butt vise, where I'll have somebody kind of sit on a soft seat or whatever, and then we'll tighten it up enough if we don't have an actual vise. My trailer that I used to have for classes, my goal was to always make a vise fixture for that. And actually, I do have a new vise coming in. I'm just waiting for a base. You can't see it. It's off camera here. But my old vise, which is like a standard bench pipe utility vise, it's a beefy thing. It's been in some other videos. That's going to go. And what I'm probably going to do with that is mount it on a piece of 2-inch stock, so that way I can put it into a receiver hitch. And then as I travel for classes, we might have that with, or for traveling armorers classes, whatever. But the new vise I have is the Brownells gunsmith vise, and it looks so beefy. I'm just waiting for the base to arrive, and then I'm going to install that and make a video on that, because that looks like a really good vise. I've also seen the real Avid vices, and they look pretty cool too. I know we're way getting off topic now. Nobody asked about vices, but I like talking about vices. All right, let's talk about, let's see, what other ones? Signals to local detectives when organized crime has to off a child. Dude, I don't know where this comes up. I can't relate, can't answer. I don't know, man. I have no idea. No slip CLP bottles. I use the Brownells flip top. I've got some over there. They work fine. I travel with those all the time. So I use cleaning solutions in those because I usually get my 725 from Slip 2000. Speaking of which, use code LF20. I put that in the Brownells flip top bottles, and I think they're branded under their Sinclair brand. Yeah. Anyways, there's that. And then as far as needle oilers, that's what I put my lubrication in, and then I put the needle oiler in a centrifuge tube, and those are leak proof as well. So no issues whatsoever with that. Let's see here. Other questions from email. Let's see. When a police officer transitions or expands into teaching citizens what type of insurance concerns should the police officer be prepared for. First off, that's a really good question. I personally use Firearms Trainers Association or Firearms Trainers Associates, FTA Protect, I believe is their website. They have a great annual policy for instructors. I like some of the things that I asked that were specific to me and my training business. And what I also liked is they actually didn't rubber stamp things. So when I applied with them, they asked for my certifications. They asked for what classes I would be teaching. I think they did ask for one lesson plan just to kind of see. And then they also asked for my documents as far as what I'm having students engage with, waivers, safety rules, all that stuff. And they did provide examples that they preferred you to use. I didn't like everything about them, so I asked if I could use my own. And they actually took a few days and had legal review them and then give me good feedback. I didn't have to make any changes, but I could tell that they actually read it because they're like, I like how you wrote this, that, this, that. You covered it here. This addresses it. We approve this form to be used. I've never had to make a claim, thankfully, which is good. But so far, I have been happy with Firearm Trainers Associates or Association, whatever it's called, FTA Protect. But that is something that you should have. Number one, if you're going to be serious about this, a real business has insurance and has proper assets and capital and everything like that. So yes, you should have that. And then number two, you want to make sure that it is a good policy and you actually know how to contact them. And then you have documentation policies and stuff in place as well. So that's a really good question that maybe that would be its own video. It could be a talking head type video. I don't know. We'll see. What can a citizen do when a government instructor NDs into a student and fails to have an insurance policy that covers this liability? I would love to say that that's never happened, but I'm sure it probably has. But again, I don't know the specifics of this, but ultimately that's when lawyers get involved in lawsuits and all that other stuff. So is what it is there. And then what can be done when the responding police officers flub the investigation, failing to take sobriety and drug tests? Kevin, I noticed a lot of your questions imply that cops and government instructors are drug addicts and drunks and all sorts of other things. And again, man, I just don't share that experience. I travel all around the country, and I have yet to have a cop show up to class that I felt like, hey, you are under the influence, you're hungover. Like, I just don't see that. And maybe that's a different tier of student because I get guys that sometimes they're there on their own time and dime, or they're taking that craft a little bit more seriously. I don't know. But I don't know, man. It sure seems like a weird common theme. So I don't know what that experience has been like, but I just don't see it. And then you asked about like some executive classes. I don't do that. That's not my wheelhouse. So I can't help you with that one. And then let's see here. Should someone operate the safety on an AR, basically keeping it on except for momentarily turning it off when firing? Or is the 90s technique of turning it off, no, not good enough? The whole "this is my safety" thing is done. There has been cases involving law enforcement with the use of a safety on an AR that have resulted in the loss of qualified immunity. So if you have a piece of equipment that has a safety and the training is also using that safety, we need to be using that safety. Same thing with 1911, 2011 transition courses. I did a fair amount of those, and I see a fair amount of those in classes. And I tell dudes, you need to be using that safety. It's there for a reason. This is how it works. This is when you should use it. Here's training, and we go from there. And obviously people are having, no problems with that. The other thing, you had a question about appendix carry. Some people ask me if I appendix carry. I do. And I carry generally right now my Staccato CS. I can't show it to you because it's a live stream, but I appendix carry that. And arguably a 1911 or a 2011 type gun is the safest gun to holster. When you take your finger off of the trigger, good step there. We activate the thumb safety, 2. We take our thumb off of the grip safety, 3. And now I can also capture the hammer with my thumb, 4. So I have done 4 things to help ensure that that gun does not go off when I put it back in my holster. Where with a striker-fired gun, I take my finger off of the safety, and then there's no other things to activate. And in fact, I might have to push the slide in with that, so I'd have to really make sure that there's nothing in between me and the holster, shirts, zipper ties, whatever, zipper pulls. So that's why I personally am still a fan of the 2011. Like, they're great pistols. They shoot great. They go from there. But right now I'm shooting a Glock a lot. Like I'm doing a lot of contract classes, and the contract gun is a Glock G47. So guess what I'm shooting? A Glock G47. I don't like to be that guy that shows up to class with a whiz-bang ninja gun while everybody else is slumming it with a good old Glock. And not to say that they're bad. They're good pistols. But I try to shoot what my students shoot. So that's kind of my philosophy. Let's see. How are we doing here? Oh, people are still tuned in. That's awesome. Seriously, dudes, I want to hear it. Like, how was your Black Friday? I haven't opened them yet because I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them or not. But I got sucked in on the Hobo Freight Black Friday sale on the Icon wrenches. So I bought some ratcheting wrenches, and I was going to sell my fixed wrenches. I had a set. They were listed kind of for sale locally with some friends, but I have a set of snap-on wrenches, like just standard non-ratcheting. And I was thinking about swapping everything, selling those, and then using that funds to pay for the Icon ratcheting wrenches, as well as the Icon standard box, what do they call it? Combination wrench. And I'm not a mechanic. I work on my side-by-side. I work on my truck a little bit. I work on stuff around the shop. I don't need snap-on tools. And I was just looking at the amount of money of the value that those wrench sets are worth. Now, I bought them used. So, there is that. But that could basically fund a really large amount of Icon tools. And do I think Icon is good enough for me? Absolutely. And it's made in Taiwan, So I don't know. Like, I think I'm okay with the old Craftsman grade of tools. And I remember buying Craftsman tools. My first tool sets that I would buy when I was a young adult were Craftsman because people told me lifetime warranty. And you can always go to any Sears and get a new one because Sears will be here forever. Yeah, how'd that work out for us, right? Do I think Snap-on will be around forever? Probably. Do I think Hobo Freight will be around forever? I hope so. But, will Icon be lifetime warranted forever? So, I don't know, man. I just am trying to buy decent stuff and go from there. So, all right, let's see here. This is from Matthew. Are you still carrying the Tier 1 concealed? I think it is the Tier 1. Dustin, if you're still watching, you would know. I always get all the name brands. Right now, with the Staccato, I'm using a QVO Wingman from my friend Roger out in Vegas, QVO Tactical. So I have his Wingman holster for the CS. I also have a Tier 1 for a Glock. Yes, and then I do have a Tenacore as well. I picked up a Tenacore. I can't remember if it's the Saga Lux or Sega, whatever, but I did pick up a Tenacore inside the waistband. And then sometimes when I do hip carry, I still have a Milt Sparks leather inside the waistband, depending on what model takes a red dot. So I still kind of go, shift it around depending on what I'm doing and comfort and stuff. Because like when I'm off-roading, I can't appendix carry. I love it how people say you can do anything. Nope, I cannot off-road with all the hustle and jerking and can't do it. I have to hip carry. So that's kind of the thing. But yeah, I think it is a Tier 1, and it's a great holster. So Merry Christmas to you, Dave. I appreciate you tuning in, checking in. This one's from Croak. Staking is fairly easily. You can do a $10 auto center punch. Absolutely. Yeah, okay, thank you. I appreciate you confirming that, Dustin. Yes, staking is pretty easy. I use the Stare It auto punch to get my punch started, and then I'll finish usually with a hammer and punch. I just had a great meeting with Obsidian Arms. They're actually out of Minnesota as well. I had a meeting with them last week, and they're going to come on board and support the training as well as the channel with some tools. They make really good punches and AR tools. I've been using their stuff for a while, but now that I was able to kind of connect, and hopefully we'll be doing some more projects together, but they make really good stuff, including AR tools. Roll pin punch removal tools for the trigger guard, the bolt catch, Delrin punches, basic punches for just general armor and gunsmith stuff. So check out Obsidian. And here's the best part. If you break that 1/16 punch, like we know we're probably going to, they'll just get you another one. Lifetime warranty. They are going to come out. They said they were possibly looking at starter pin punches as well, which I think sometimes that would prevent a lot of issues, obviously, as well, especially with the good old 1/16th. So how do I like the Tenacore? I like it. Yeah, once you kind of get it set up to where you find that sweet spot for you, Tenacore has been just fine. Because sometimes, believe it or not, I don't need the whole shingle style with the spare mag and everything like that. And sometimes I've found the the Tenacore just a little bit more comfortable because it can just be that one thing. So I've seen a well-regarded instructor offer the advice that the set screw holes on the gas block should be staked to prevent walkout. No, that's fine. That's fine with me. I personally use red thread locker on those set screws with witness marks. And assuming they're properly dimpled, so okay, let me back up. Number one, barrel should be dimpled for the set screws. I do that. I have a jig, or you can do it manually if you measure the distance, but they should be properly dimpled. Number two, use the correct hardware. A knurled set screw is what I use, and that works great. Number three, degrease. Number four, thread locker. Number five, witness mark. And I have yet to have a gas block screw back out. The reason why I personally like thread locker is that I can remove that very easily, even in the field with a little butane torch. I can heat it up. I can break down that thread locker, remove it, go from there. I have had times when we've had to, replace a gas tube or a gas block or a barrel or something like that. You never know when something might come up, and sometimes having to work on stuff is a little bit easier. So there is, there's that. So I personally like it. I can remove it. I can do whatever I need to do. With staking, you can, but then you have to kind of get in there with a little punch and hammer and kind of remove that displaced material. But yeah, it's sound as well. The biggest thing is you don't want to see it come loose. I've been to matches and classes where I've seen those set screws come loose, and I'm here to tell you, turns it into a single shot really, really quick. So that is something to keep in mind. Let's see here. View at your own risk. That was your question there. Ballistic Aviation. Thanks for the $2, man. I will take that cup of coffee. I appreciate it. Look me up at SHOT Show. Let me know where you're going to be at. I'm not cool enough to organize a meetup or anything like that. But if we are going to go to any common events or anything like that, make sure you look me up. And here's the deal. Don't be offended if I don't recognize you or remember you or whatever, because sometimes people come up to me because they know me from a class or a channel or whatever. And they're like, and I feel bad because I'm like, I don't remember you. And they're like, oh, well, we've never actually met. I just watched you. And it's like, oh, well, because sometimes I feel like I should know people and I don't. So, but yeah, look me up. I'll be around, and I'll be kind of posting updates and stuff too. I'm not sure what events I'm going to go to, but loving going to SHOT. So yeah, look me up. Thanks for the cup of coffee, man. I appreciate the support for the super chat. All right, yes, the SLR jigs. That's what I use as well. I have some of those SLR jigs, and I also have one other company. I can't remember what the heck it was, but they made a jig as well for gas blocks. Honestly, for some of the stuff, I don't even use a jig. I just use the mill. I have a barrel vise or barrel vise fixture, jaws, whatever, and then I'll just use a edge finder to center, and then I'll spot drill, and then I'll use either a ball mill or a drill or whatever. So, oh my gosh, Ballistic Aviate now. Yeah, dude, how did I not put together the, I'm sorry, Luke. I'm sorry, man. Yeah. All right. Now I'm tracking. Like, we've been gallivanting in Texas together, all from Texas to Kansas. Sorry, it took me a minute to kind of put together the usernames and everything. All right, let me get to your other comment here in a sec. On your Glocks, what's your maintenance interval? Maintenance? Dude, I just add lube and go. I'm just kidding. Maintenance on a Glock, I had to replace a striker at about $7K. Yeah, every 4,000 or 5,000 rounds, I'll take it apart and generally do some sort of an inspection and clean. And then usually I will replace, I'm sorry, I'm reading ahead comments. Usually I will replace some springs, and if I see common wear, things like that. Common springs to go. Number one, we never replace the recoil spring enough on a Glock. So I try to make sure if I've I've forgotten to do that. Maybe it's been 5,000, 10,000 rounds. I will do that. And then I will look at the other springs. And then obviously, if you've worn a groove, then that's be a good one there. And then same thing with extractor as well. That one can be kind of a wear item depending on what kind of ammo you're using, that kind of thing. But generally speaking, man, that's what's cool about Glocks. I know dudes that even don't replace springs and they just add lube and they keep shooting them and they wipe them out every now and again. Like, Glock is literally a phenomenal gun. Like, they are. Like, having to shoot one now again for this contract stuff, shooting a 47, they are nice pistols. They really are. I miss my stippling and my undercut trigger guard, but they are nice pistols. So nothing but good things to say. All right, there we go. Now, Luke, Yes, I would love to go to the birthday party. Text me the details, and then yes, I will gladly take a face slap. And I love you as well, man. I miss you. That was like one of the highlights of my year was that trip. Not only in Texas, doing the thing we can't talk about, but then travel to TriggerCon and hanging out and okay, I don't want to get sappy, but it's just really cool to make more friends in the industry. And Luke from TFB TV and Ballistic Aviation, um, it you know, yeah, it was just really cool to be able to meet people and hang out with people and share things and have people help out with getting content for each other. But that's like the coolest part of like getting to know other creators. I think is just making better friends out of it too. So Luke, seriously, one of the highlights, man. Can't wait to hang out. And yes, keep me posted on James' birthday party night. I know he does that at SHOT. So in the past, I haven't been cool enough to get invited. So it'd be kind of neat to do that and get together. All right. And Croak, yeah, I think we both were at GunCon. That's right. GunCon as well in Iowa. All right. I got to give another plug here, guys. Let me back up. Boom. There we go. Slip 2000. Right now, they are an amazing supporter of the channel. If you're looking for quality cleaning and lubrication products, look no further than Slip 2000. I use their Extreme Weapons Lube all the time. The EWL has a great pour temperature. It doesn't freeze, it doesn't gel up. They have thicker stuff, so if you're in hotter environments or you prefer a grease, they do have 30 weight and grease, or you can even mix them of any weight of your choice to thicken something up or whatever. So that's what's cool, whereas some of the other companies out there, you cannot mix their oil and their grease. They're incompatible with Slip stuff. All the Extreme Weapon line is, and their 725 and Carbon Killer works great. They also have copper solvents. Like I said, dudes, Slip 2000, use code LF20 to save 20% on your order, plus it helps support the channel, and it is absolutely amazing stuff. So love it, love it, love it. All right, Slip 2000, they are the support of the channel. Normally, fellas, we give away a prize and all that stuff, and I don't have all of that lined up yet with sponsors and supporters, so normally I would be picking a random comment or question, but we'll get to that. Next year, we're going to work on getting, hopefully, a show supporter and kind of get the numbers back out there and getting a sponsor for the QA so we can do that again. But if you wanted to support the channel, the best way is go to our Patreon and check us out there. Learning Firearms, every little thing helps. I try to give some behind the scenes. When I'm traveling, it's a little tougher. I do feel bad because I know like some people have left because it's not as active, but really that's just a way to support the channel, or you can do the super chat, super thanks thing, to whatever, that also helps, as well as using my links and coupons and something like that. So hang on. I just saw a comment come in. And 10 out of 10 wholesome experience. I'll shoot. Nice. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Luke. All right. View at your own risk. I don't know. No, leave a comment quick because I don't know if I have access to the old G&T stuff. So shoot me. If you can comment here quick, I'll ramble on for a couple of minutes or we'll talk about something else. But yeah, shoot me that 1911 question. I don't know. It sounds familiar, but I don't remember what it might be. And I don't have access to all my old stuff or whatever. Oh, look, we have a special guest. Come here. I just had a dog come out. You want to come on the camera? Come. I swear, every time I put a dog, the view rates come up. Zenny, come. Come. Anyways, you guys can meet one of my pups. But, yeah, so what else has been new? What do you guys have planned for the holidays or anything like that? Up. Come here. Come here. Come. Up. Come. Yeah, up. Yeah, this is the good dog. She actually knows not to jump on people and furniture. It's the other one that is a little bit more hectic, and she would be like all right up here if she knew that she could actually get out here. I'm guessing she's taking a splendorous nap right now. So, yeah, a fun story. I was driving home last night from the class, and man, the weather, like, I was on the interstate, and I've never seen so many jackknifed semis and semis off the road. For a while, they actually even closed the interstate, and they were turning cars around. So it was like a flashback to that scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I'm in this way, and I'm looking over, and I'm seeing cars go this way as well because they basically closed the road up ahead and had to turn cars around to get them off the interstate so they could get tow trucks. And, oh, man, it was crazy. I missed the blunt of the storm and everything driving home, but the joys of Minnesota weather and driving. But I'm glad I wasn't flying because I feel like planes were grounded and all that other stuff. So sometimes it's best just to drive sometimes. Look at this. Let's see here. Croak, super chat, 10 spot. Well, thank you, man. I will buy myself something pretty. You know what? I'm going to buy myself a hipster coffee. That's what I'm going to do with this. So I appreciate you supporting my SHOT Show beverage. I don't know if I'll be able to swing a cocktail in Vegas, but I will get me a Starbucks or a Caribou or find some cool mom and pop shop. So I appreciate Croak with that. All right, view at your own risk. Why are 1911 still unreliable of the A1, where the design now is supposed to be optimized for mass production? Well, man, I think part of it is I don't know if they are unreliable, right? I think you have different makers out there that we could talk about the Prodigy, but we have different manufacturers out there that are doing different levels of quality control, quality checks, different qualities of parts, whether it's spring issues, whether it's MIM issues, whatever. But so yeah, you do still have some issues out there, particularly on the entry-level production side. However, we have some phenomenal pistols out there right now. The Bull Armory, blast. That thing just slaps, right? Staccatos slap. I have a new Prodigy. I had meh experiences with the Prodigy, right? Like on the old channel, I did a review and a follow-up, or a first look and a follow-up, and I give the Prodigy a meh. Well, I got connected and I was like, hey, dudes, I didn't have a great experience. I'm willing to have an open mind and check one out again if you want to, give me a demo of one of the comped ones. Feels way better. I have heard from other people as well, and I've even confirmed it when I went to a couple of shops and checked latest production models. They did something to tighten up quality control and quality assurance that the new Prodigies feel a lot better. The new Kimbers, dude, the Kimber 2K11 looks like a sweet blaster. I'm on the list for one. Also, I did get one of their small subcompact 1911s. I can't remember if they call it the SX something. I'm horrible with acronyms, but that thing looks like it's put together really well. And then obviously, I've had a lot of people tell me how good the TSIS guns are. The Mac guns, I've kind of had mixed feedback on. I think it's a good platform maybe to build and enhance, but I don't know. The TSIS guns, though, there's even some gunsmiths out there that are taking those TSIS guns and doing a tune-up job on them to make a big option. Now, that being said, the Fusion is a Glock magazine, because as your next comment here is this, Glock budget. But however, the Fusion does have some potential, and that is less. But I will say this. If you can save up for a Platypus, man, you just won't regret it. They're phenomenal pistols. For the money especially, the customization, the builder, they're awesome. I was actually just texting the owner of Stealth today, and my next dream Platypus, if you will, is the prickle texture with a bull barrel. But man, they're awesome, awesome pistols. They're tight, they fit good, they're super accurate. I really don't think you would regret it. So I understand you're on a Glock budget, but even if you order it now, I can't remember if they make you pay for it up front or do a deposit, but I don't think you're going to regret it. And by the time you get it, I think you'll be very happy. And then that's a gun that you can literally just take to the range and run and run and run. There might be some stuff coming at SHOT Show as well in the 1911 platform that probably would be a good time to wait in general, because SHOT Show announcements are going to come out next month. So something to consider there. Let's see here. I can't believe I might be in the market for a new Kimber. I know, right? Like, when I was connected with Kimber at NRA and TriggerCon and all that, and here's the other thing. I got to give Kimber props. We were talking when I was with the old channel, and I will say this, like, they wanted me to do a review on the old channel because obviously I had a bigger audience and whatever. And when I told them, I was like, hey, I'm going on my new one. They were very supportive and wanted to still work with me. And speaking of which, look who else is dropping in my DMs, even though it's not the DM, it's the comment. But he did drop in my DMs. Ben from Bull. Awesome to see you, sir. I can't even imagine what time it is over in your time zone. I believe it's super late at night. So I really appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, we were talking about Bull stuff earlier. And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from the comment section is Ben from Bull Armory. So, and speaking of also awesome dudes, during my oh my gosh, I was about to say during my transition, and I'm sure the internet, if I was cool enough, could make all sorts of memes with that. But again, Ben from Bull was another guy, super awesome, that helped me with support coming back to my new channel. I told him, I was like, hey man, I know you sent this to go on the old channel. I'm moving over to my new channel. Are you okay with that? And it was awesome, man. It was absolutely awesome. Ben was like, hey, I like your style. I like your content. I want to work with you. It doesn't matter necessarily like the channel name. We just want to work with good, selective people, and we're happy to do so. And it's been an awesome experience. So I really do appreciate the support of Bull Armory as well. And Ben, since I've got you, SHOT Show's coming up, and there's that new whiz bang fancy ported comp gun. You know, I don't know if you guys have any of those in the United States yet, but just saying, if you want to do some cold weather testing, I know a guy who lives in Minnesota. Just saying, and that's the gun. I believe I was the first American to shoot that at GunCon. I was like first in line, and Ben let me shoot that comped ported recoil delete. Like seriously, recoil delete. The thing slapped. But anyways, oh good. Glad that it's only 9 p.m. So it's not too late. All right. What else, dudes? This is awesome. It's been awesome to see some people check in. Buddy has a Thesis that was surprisingly nice. Yeah, it does have some MIM parts, but is the recoil... Oh, they claim the only is the recoil spring plug. Okay. And then obviously... like there. Oh, Walsh's sidekick at GunCon. So Croak was at GunCon as well. So you probably met Ben. And I was the first Yankee to shoot it. You know, and it's funny. I am probably as much of a Yankee being in northern Minnesota. If you look at the map, I'm technically more like in central, but anything north of Minneapolis, everybody calls up north. So anyways, it's yeah. But yes, I will come by the booth and talk about it for sure. But yeah, still awesome pistol. And for those of you guys that don't know, I will put a link after the show publishes to my Bull Armory TAC Pro review. We shot over 4,000 rounds, numerous classes, different events. That thing slapped. Super awesome gun. I'll put a link in the show notes or description so you can check out that Bull Armory pistol. Here's my only thing about Bull, dudes, is you got to act fast. As soon as you get a notification that you can order one or do whatever, you got to like commit, go fast. They are in high demand. So, and I know that they are working on that, but yeah, you got to act fast. And maybe I'm putting Ben on the spot here, but one of the things I did on the old channel was I would do some industry live interviews. So maybe we could talk Ben into coming on for a podcast where we interview him live and interact with that. So we could do that. So that'll probably be obviously an after the holidays, after SHOT Show type thing. But that's actually on my agenda at SHOT Show, is to go to some of these cool companies and try to set up 12 or so interviews throughout the year, so that way we can have an industry guest on some of the podcasts. Like I think the last one we did on G&T was with Josh from Holosun, and that was a really good viewed and downloaded podcast episode. So we'll do stuff like that as well. But yeah. Oh, there's still some in stock. So dudes, check that out. I can't put a direct link due to the community standards. Oh boy, did I just black out? Yeah, hang on. We still got audio. Give me 1 sec, dudes. Uh-oh. Oh, all right. I know. There we go. Okay. All right. So, case in point, lesson learned. I got a new dedicated studio camera, just so I could use my main camera out for other stuff. So I got a dedicated camera, but this one uses a smaller battery. And apparently for live streaming, that capacity is about an hour. So good to know. I might have to come up with like a power source for that. I think they make like a little power eliminator. But yeah, love to after the show season. Awesome. That'd be great. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. And Croak, nope, you did not do that. All right, dudes, we've been talking for about an hour. Any other questions, comments, cares, concerns, queries, conundrums, or complaints, drop them in the comment section below. Otherwise, we're probably going to wrap this one up. And then speaking of Luke from Ballistic Aviation and the TFB TV fame, I actually appeared on their podcast where Luke and I talked about just kind of the industry and training stuff a little bit. And then he helped me kind of plug that I was coming back to learning firearms. So maybe we'll have Luke or somebody else on the show as well. So that'd be kind of neat as well. So, and then Greg is here. Awesome to see Greg from Greg's Gas Photography. If you guys have admired great catalog images in the industry, there's a good chance that they were probably taken by Greg. Ben, thank you very much for stopping in the comments, man. You have a great rest of your evening as well. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. But some of the industry guests that kind of popped in here, that was really cool as well. So, dudes, we've been talking for, like I said, about an hour. I'm probably going to go ahead and call this a wrap. However, before I do, shameless plug, if you do want to support the channel, if you want to help me grow, be able to put towards gear, hard drives, all that other stuff, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can select an appropriate amount for you, and that is a great way for you to do that. Also, using our links, using our coupon codes, all of that does help, and that does cost you nothing, and sometimes it saves you money. And then last, but certainly not least, if you want to see your question get on the show, a great way to do so is to email us, and that is qa@gunsandtactics.com. And if you want to train with me, you can do so by going over to our website and, oh man, well, and I already lost the link. I was supposed to have like little buttons, but you know how that goes. The joys of live streaming. But you can check out our website, learningfirearms.com, and look at hosting a class. You can definitely, get me out to your agency, your group, your range. We generally have some minimums for travel classes, but go to learningfirearms.com. Get in touch with me, figure out what type of a class we could come do for you. And I'm traveling all over, love teaching classes, and going from there. Was that the wrong email address? Do qa@learningfirearms.com. qa@learningfirearms.com. And I don't know what the deal is, why it's not working. The joys of live streaming. This is why maybe I don't have very many subscribers, just because we have this amateur hour stuff, right? Let's see. There we go. Email your questions to the qa@learningfirearms.com. Go ahead and take a quick screenshot right now. Otherwise, when I get the show notes up, that email address will be published as well. And then I do have to give a last huge thank you to View at Your Own Risk, who just dropped a $10 super chat as well. So thank you very much for the support. Another cup of coffee, the good one. I'm going to get a double shot with some double whips, thanks to View at Your Own Risk at SHOT Show. So I really appreciate that. And to all the Rainier Arms crew, awesome to hear from you dudes. I really do miss you guys. I hope you're doing well. I think the world of you guys, and I can't wait to see you hopefully at SHOT Show. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I appreciate everything that you guys are still doing. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy holidays to you guys too. All right, so that being said, oh my gosh, did I really say G&T? Whoops-a-daisy. It is Learning Firearms. qa@learningfirearms.com. Force a habit. Force a habit. That's why we do it live. That's why we do it live. All right, I'm going to wrap up. I wanted to thank all of you guys. I appreciate everybody that has came over from the old channel, found me from the new channel, all the industry support, all the people that have said, hey, we're going to move with you. Hey, we're going to still work with you. We're still going to support you. It literally means the world to me that people are doing that. So please tell your friends about the channel. Please have as many subscribers as we can, because obviously as the channel grows, that does open up more doors and opportunities, but also consider me for training opportunities as well. But I really do appreciate everybody supporting me and following me. That literally means the world to me. So I hope you guys have a blessed and safe holiday season, whether it be Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever, New Year or nothing, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate. Hopefully you can find some joy and spend it with some people you enjoy spending time with. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day. All right, I got to take my screenshot, my thumbnail.